Hello, everyone, and welcome into another edition of the Computer America Show. We have a great show lined up for you today because so much is going on, and hopefully, none of you are affected, or at least affected minimally, with the DDoS attacks happening currently on the East Coast. But we have that, more technology news, and everything computer and technology news coming up here on the Computer America Show. We also have a prize to give away for our Logitech contest where, sign up on social media and we choose one social media follower from all of our mediums to win a prize. It's just that simple. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So check that out and listen for that, probably towards the end of the show, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, stay tuned for a whole bunch of computer and technology news brought to you by, well, Computer America.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@ComputerAmerica.com.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us, and I am your host, Ben Crossman. Yes, and we have a wonderful show planned for everyone today, as we are going to do computer and technology news for both segments. And yeah, it's not like we don't have anything to talk about because hopefully all of you are able to access this. And I say that in the most sincerest form because there is an ongoing distributed denial of service attack on a very, very popular DNS server that hosts many of the websites that you use on a daily basis. So we're going to go over just which websites were affected and, may shed some light on it and who may be behind it, as well as why. Why is always the biggest question, but it's always fun to get to the bottom of these things. And but no, welcome into the Computer America Show. And before we get started with all the computer and technology news, I wanted to go over a few things, including, of course, that we are going to give away a prize from our friends over at Logitech. Yeah, we have a Keys to Go by Logitech. It's a very, very sleek, very comfortable, very waterproof, very stylish keyboard, Bluetooth, either for iOS or Android. And of course, you have to specify that when you win. But yeah, we're giving one away to a social media winner of the week. And all you have to do to enter that contest is to go to ComputerAmerica.com, find us on Google, find us on Twitter, find us on Facebook if you can access them. Give us a follow, give us a like, drop us a comment, anything you want to do, and we will pick one person from all of our social media and we'll contact you, let you know that you've won, and get back to us. And that's all it takes. It's just that simple. And it's a little something that we do here to to try to give back to our audience, because if you choose to go out there and support us on social media, then we are very, very grateful for that. Now, with that being said, I mentioned ComputerAmerica.com. That is where you're going to find everything Computer America related. So head on over. It's still up. And and I'm gonna have tons of fun with the DNS thing, but no, with the DDoS on the DNS. But yeah, so ComputerAmerica.com, and it's gonna have show notes. It's gonna have links to all the articles we talk about today. It's gonna have everything that you need for today's show. So that if you're driving or if you're busy at the office or you can't tear yourself away from whatever it is you're doing to go look it up, I will have it all in one place. Very simple, very easy to find, just like that. Okay, and of course, with that being said, if you want to send us a question or a comment or what have you, feel free to email us at live@computeramerica.com, and we will get that message. And not to mention that you can also drop us a line on our website underneath the show lounge. You can also submit a question, and we'll get that and answer those, be it tech support, be it a question of a past guest, be it a request for a future guest. If you would like someone on the show, Computer America will do their darndest to get them on and get them talking about the product that you want to know about. Before you jump in headfirst into purchasing something that's you really don't know that much about. So yeah, please give that a try, and we will be looking out for that as always. Now, with that being said, I think we're just going to jump right into it because currently I have about, let's see, one, two, three, about 11 stories, and I know I have about, and I've only, touched the surface of what I want to talk about. So I say we just get started with computer and technology news. So here we go. And on today's computer and technology news from Computer America, I think we're going to start with the very obvious one, and it is the giant. Well, some companies are calling it an internet blackout, but it's a DDoS and a distributed denial of service attack, which is attacked on DynHost, DYN, which is a large domain name server. And I'm going to be reading off this article here from Engadget, and this is Nicole Lee, and saying that the U.S. investigates Friday's internet blackout as a criminal act, saying that the government is looking to see if the recent internet outage was more than just a stunt. So they're saying that sites affected include Twitter, Spotify, the New York Times, Reddit, Yelp, Box, Pinterest, PayPal, and potentially a lot more. I know personally, we have an email server with a company called Bluehost, and Bluehost, like the one that is supposed to host all of your things, was down. So didn't even get our email for the first half of the day. It's one thing to hear about it, but it's another thing to be affected by it. So yeah, it seems that as if this attack was focused on the East Coast, saying that now Reuters is reporting that the U.S. government is investigating to see if it was a criminal act. So the news outlet reports that it's not clear yet on who's responsible, and the Department of Homeland Security has said that it's investigating all potential cases, which was a quote. According to DIN, it resolved one attack earlier this morning, but there was a second attack a few hours later. As of this writing, some of sites like Twitter and Spotify appear to be back up, but there are still sporadic outages that result in broken images and links. And yeah, just like the article said, just to get into it a little bit more, a distributed denial of service attack, as we talked on the show with security experts before, this is one of the bigger ones. Like, this is huge, huge, huge. I don't want to say it's the largest yet. We don't have the exact numbers, but it seems like lately there has been a rush to kind of see who can do the largest DDoS attack in history. And it's kind of like all the global warming kind of things. It's like, well, this year was the hottest year, or this month was the hottest month, or so on and so forth. And it's kind of getting that way with DDoS. And thanks to, of course, the Internet of Things, when your washing machine can be a computer, when your thermostat can be a computer, when your light bulbs can be a computer, when all these little things can be a computer, they can be used in distributed denial of service attacks. And essentially what those are is that a computer pings the system and says, hey, can you send me all of this information? And they ask for redundant information, they ask for useless information, they ask for a request like crazy, and they ask for a lot of information. And of course the server, because that's exactly what it does, is says, oh sure, I'd be happy to do that for you. And it normally it looks like normal traffic. The only difference between a DDoS attack and normal traffic is that when a DDoS attack happens, it's usually a couple 100 million to a couple billion different computers asking for a lot of information at once, which essentially clogs everything up, crashes the whole thing, or just makes it incredibly slow, and therefore average users cannot use the services that they want, and because they're clogged with all this fake traffic. Very, very hard to deal with. Like, you have to do a lot of rerouting behind the scenes to get to get this to stop happening. And it doesn't happen overnight, as we saw with this attack that happened right now. You can block traffic. Once you kind of see where it's coming from, you can block it from certain addresses. You can block entire countries. You can do things like that. But it's going to shut it down. Like, there's really no defense against it. Like, there are a few services that will do it, but there's really no defense against it for the immediate response. So that's why the Department of Homeland Security, the people that are supposed to keep things from blowing up. That's why they're investigating it, is because it's such a basic attack. It's so low level. Like, it's not like, we found a security hole and we're going to exploit it and we're going to get in, we're going to steal everything. No, a DDoS is very, very simple. It's as if 1,000 people all of a sudden stood in your driveway. You can't get out, nothing can get in, and it's very, very simple to do. Just get 1,000 people and stand in a driveway. It's not complicated. So when a DDoS happens, it may not be the most sophisticated attack, but it's very, very effective, and almost anyone can do it. So this is a very, very common tool because you don't need any kind of security exploits to really take advantage of it. This is a very common tool for state-sponsored hacking because you can't always rely on, let's say, Twitter or the US government or the New York Times website. You can't rely on all of these to have a security flaw at all times, but you can guarantee that you can block their traffic for a measurable amount of time. And don't get me wrong, this attack that happened this morning, today, is still ongoing in some cases. Companies are losing millions and millions of dollars while this happens. So Department of Homeland Security may seem like an overreaction to, oh, my Twitter won't load, but it's huge losses for these companies, and it's definitely a criminal act. So whoever did this, we've heard reports that it's not always state hacking. Sometimes it's hacking groups, and it's as easy as sending out malware in, let's say, pop-up ads, or sending out malware in banner ads, or sending out malware in emails, things like that. You get your computer infected, and then your computer, my computer, any computer, Internet of Things, any of these can be used as a DDoS kind of node, and make these huge botnets. Like, it's not like these people have to go out and buy 1 billion computers to use 1 billion computers in these DDoS attacks. They can happen from any computer, anytime, if they're infected with malware, which again, make sure your computer is safe, because you don't want to, kind of use your computer in this sort of fashion. So, as the article said, don't know who's behind it yet. I'm sure someone out there is going to claim responsibility. And if it is state sponsoring, or at least state sponsored, those are pretty easy to detect as well, because then, the majority of pingbacks are mostly from, either China or Russia or what have you, one of these countries. If it's not a hacking group, it's going to be state sponsored. And if it's state sponsored, then we're going to find out pretty darn quickly. But suffice to say that this is one of the bigger ones, and it's only going to get worse from here on out. I read another article saying that in the near future, these attacks, they're not meant to bring anything down. Like, if nothing else, they are being used to test the systems that they are attacking and see how they respond. So it's a game of chess. It's, while they may not really want anything, or they may not really try to get anything out of it, they're just doing it to see what happens if I do this. And then later on, they could sell the software, they could sell the botnet, they could sell whatever system it is that they're using to someone who actually wants to cause harm, who wants to cause damage. Or it may have been a more targeted attack, maybe like a smokescreen. You bring down many large websites just to get that one that you really, really wanted to, and then it's kind of lost in the commotion. It could be that as well. But more than likely, it's a situation of, look how powerful my botnet is. If you want to buy this from me, then you have to pay me $10,000, $100,000, $500,000, however much it is for a botnet of this size. And then if you happen to be someone who can use a tool like this, then yeah, you're going to pay that kind of money, because you just saw it in action, and you just saw all the news organizations freak out about how widespread this distributed denial of service attack was. Very successful, and again, not going to be the worst one that we're going to see in history, and not going to be the last one. So yeah, hopefully that cleared up a few things. If you were wondering why you couldn't log on to Twitter this morning, I believe most of these websites are back up and running. Systems do have alternate kind of IP addresses and DNS domain name service. They have alternates and rerouting that they can do so that so that the attacks don't target what they're trying to get out. But it does take some time, and it's not instant, but they should have it under control by now. So hopefully you can get back to goofing off on Twitter if that is your thing. So yeah, that was the first one, and big news. It's gonna we're gonna be hearing about that one for days and weeks ahead of, from now, and I'm especially kind of interested to hear how much money was actually lost in in the process, because yeah, very interesting. So also, speaking of interesting, I think I want to do this one. And for all of you who don't know, it's become so blasé that it's kind of like, whatever. Space exploration, and not just space, but Mars exploration, has really been kicking into high gear lately. Obviously, a lot of companies, including Elon Musk private space company, wants to put people on Mars in the near future. But yeah, it's something that Mars is so interesting, and there are experiments going on there every single day. One of them just took place, I want to say yesterday, and or even no, I'm sorry, the day before. And it was a lander was supposed to, of course, land on the surface of Mars and start exploring. But the more important aspect of this mission was the landing module, where it was supposed to survive up to 40 Gs of gravity upon impact with the surface. Like it was supposed to be the newest, greatest way to deliver a payload onto the surface of Mars. And they just tested it. Well, they had a malfunction. And catastrophic, I think, is the best word that we can put to it. So this is from Popular Science, Ms. Kelsey Atherton, and they say that the new NASA photos show ExoMars lander may have exploded on impact. Yeah, so, and exploded is, I think exploded is a very big understatement, because it was, I'm sure if you were on the surface watching it, it was very exciting to see this thing fireball out of the sky. So when an object traveling through space encounters a planet, what survives that encounter usually leaves a mark. So this is no less true for meteorites than it is for expensive, carefully calibrated robots. And launched towards Mars by the European Space Agency, they're saying that the lander had an ominous silent descent onto the red planet this week, leaving the world wondering whether it survived the landing. And when NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter passed over the landing site yesterday, it found evidence that something indeed made it to the surface. So, a release from the European Space Agency about the finding is cautious in its language, never spelling out the possibility that the lander is permanently offline. So, a small bright patch appears by the lander's parachute and heat shield, and a large dark spot roughly 50 feet by 130 feet could be the cloud of of the lander's impact. So, without active thrusters to slow the descent, the European Space Agency estimates that the lander approached the surface at a speed of over 180 miles an hour. So there's only so much careful language that can obscure an assessment like this, saying it is also possible that the lander exploded on impact, as its thruster propellant tank were likely still full. So, Europe's ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter made its final descent in full working order. Scientists will use the photos of the crash site and data relayed from the crashing lander to the orbiter to figure out what went wrong on the landing. So, they're saying that if the lander is truly dead, then as its scattered parts on the Martian surface seem to indicate, there is still science to do in learning how exactly it happened. So science, of course, is a process, and sometimes that process includes crashing robots into another planet. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Space exploration, very hard. And hey, you can't get it right 100% of the time. I'm sure no one lost their job over this, but still a very unfortunate outcome. for what was supposed to provide a lot of really interesting data. And yeah, you can go check out the pictures yourself. But yeah, the pictures are exactly that, where it's just a smoldering crater. Well, actually, a smoldering black spot, as well as a couple of new white spots, which again they thought were the heat shields. Very interesting stuff. So, with that being said, the other article that we didn't get to talk about yesterday because we had our all Linux show, being it didn't really fit, but something that came out yesterday was indeed the Nintendo NX, or at least what used to be the NX is now the Nintendo Switch, for all of you who don't know. So yeah, this is Nintendo's newest console. They unveiled it. It's definitely different. We've always talked about how Wii and the Wii U and Nintendo in general has always had their own form factors, whereas an Xbox, a PlayStation, or what have you, they're usually black boxes with controllers. I mean, it's not really anything more complicated than that. But Nintendo said, well, we can make that more complicated. And it looks pretty cool, I'll be honest with you. So this is from Popular Science, and they're actually covering 5 details about the Nintendo Switch that weren't apparent in the trailer. So, and again, everyone, I highly recommend you go check out the trailer. It's on YouTube. It's like 3 minutes long, and it shows off a lot of functionality, and a lot of functionality that you really wouldn't think. So, yeah, this is the details of the Nintendo NX, which the Japanese gaming giant has kept fans on the edge of their seats for, has finally been revealed, which, by the way, is called the Nintendo Switch once again. And they're saying that it's expected to hit store shelves in March 2017. And Nintendo always does this. They have this weird, they have their own marketing. They have their own consoles, their own timelines. I mean, most companies out there would be excited to get their product out for the holidays. When people are out there looking for gifts to buy and looking for, things to give one another or purchase for themselves for, deals and what have you. But not Nintendo. Again, they're aiming for March 2017 of all times, well past, like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what's in March. St. Patrick's Day? I don't know. But at any rate, they're saying that the trailer gave us a long-awaited details about the Nintendo Switch, which is the successor to the Wii U. So, of course, and it raised a lot of questions. So the Nintendo Switch dock is only for charging and TV output, which again is something that we saw in the trailer, saying that many of those watching the trailer may have wondered if the docking unit that the portable portion of the console was put into had extra processors like RAM or other internals to beef up the Switch when it came time to play on the television. And Nintendo tells IGN that this isn't the case, saying that the dock is not the main console unit of the Nintendo Switch. The main unit of the Nintendo Switch is the unit that has the LCD screen with the 2 Joy-Con controllers can be attached to and detached from. The main function of the Nintendo Switch dock is to provide output for the TV as well as charging and providing power to the system. So, of course, a few have gotten hands-on time with the Nintendo Switch, but it's likely that playing the console on the go will provide a largely similar experience to what you're playing on the television at home. So, of course, Nintendo is also, and the next question was, of course, backwards compatibility. And this is always a problem with gaming consoles going into the future because we saw this with like the Xbox One and the PlayStation. PlayStation had 100 of their top selling games were all backwards compatible with the PlayStation 4 from the PlayStation 3. Xbox One, they try to draw a really, really hard line and say this is not backwards compatible. If you purchase something for a 360, it will not work with an Xbox One. Of course, since then, they've worked on the software, they've updated it over the air, and yeah, the Xbox One is backwards compatible and is getting more backwards compatible as time goes on. Now, of course, Nintendo is famous for, of course, backwards compatibility, saying that more often than not, games bought for a current Nintendo system will work on the next one to allow gamers, to play all their favorite games. Of course, looks like this will not be the case for the Nintendo Switch. So, according to a publication called Destructoid, the consoles will not support Nintendo Wii U game disc nor Nintendo 3DS game cartridges. Those looking to play their old favorite games may have to repurchase, and Nintendo says that there is a possibility that old games will be released for the Switch once again on the company's eShop as digital purchases. So, no backwards compatibility with previous Nintendo products. Very, very interesting. So the controllers, and by the way, if you haven't seen the video, again, go check out the video. It's so interesting. But the controllers are, I guess, some of the stranger aspects of this tablet, because while it's a tablet kind of thing, the controllers, there's two of them. You can slide them on. It looks like they're on like little rail systems. You can slide them on each side, and you can either hold it, with the controller in each hand with the console in the middle in your lap, or you can detach both of the controllers, set the screen out in front of you, like let's say you're on a plane, you can set it on the tray and then lean back and play with the controllers in each hand separately. So they're, kind of NFC kind of deal. And for those of you who don't know, the controllers are called Joy-Con, Joy-Con, Joy-Con. And of course, we could see peripherals for the Joy-Con sticks. So part of the Nintendo Switch unique console design, of course, talks about the removable controllers. So Nintendo has named them Joy-Con and L Joy-Con, and Joy-Con L and Joy-Con R to be specific, so left and right. And in the video footage of the Nintendo Switch, we can see the two being used in a tandem when playing solo, but a Joy-Con controller can be shared with a friend for multiplayer gaming. Or, considering Nintendo's love of myriad of controllers, we could see the company release peripherals for the Switch depending on the game one is playing. And they even have a few mock-ups that are already available, but I could totally see these things being slipped on to kind of preformed kind of skeletons to make, more traditional controllers, or maybe more unique controllers, as again Nintendo is so apt to do. They're saying that they're looking at other games, because in the link, or I'm sorry, in the video, they showed a couple of course, Nintendo exclusives such as Zelda, I think was the first one, and then they even showed some like Skyrim that were never on the console before. So very, very exciting. So they also showed off NBA 2K17, but there are other non-Nintendo games that would join Mario, Link, and Pikachu on the new consoles. So they're saying that games from Sega, Activision, EA, Capcom, and more will also make their way to Nintendo's new device. It remains to be seen whether or not the non-Nintendo titles will ever arrive on or around the same day as the release of the PlayStation or Xbox counterparts, or if the games will look as good graphically as on rival consoles. And they even have a pretty big list of Nintendo Switch partners. And they include big ones such as Warner Brothers, of course, Epic Games, Ubisoft, Codemasters, EA, of course, Activision, Havoc. I mean, they have some Autodesk. They have some really, really nice titles lined up for this thing. And that's always been, kind of Nintendo's weakness, was that they have great original titles, but when it comes to titles beyond, Pokemon, Zelda, Super Smash Bros, what have you, whatever Nintendo, Mario, whatever Nintendo exclusive you may like, there wasn't really that much support beyond that. So this is very, very cool. So they're also saying that the Nintendo Switch will receive Amiibo support, saying that the hype surrounding Nintendo's Amiibo may never die down, saying that the NFC-controlled figurines allow gamers to fight against specific characters, unlock certain gameplay modes, and more will continue to be supported in Nintendo Switch consoles. So, of course, they're saying, which makes sense, if only considering the upcoming Zelda game, Breath of Wind, and the accompanying Amiibo that will be launched in honor of its release. And of course, after that, we won't learn more until 2017 when the console finally launches. But I gotta say, as a gamer and just someone who is rooting for Nintendo, like I don't know anyone out there who wants Nintendo to roll over and die. Everyone is on Nintendo's side. They seem like one of the last game companies that really understands what games are about. And games are fun. Games are meant to be played. They're meant to be, really, really good story, likable characters, and just a lot of fun to play. And Nintendo, being the kind of company that it is, does a really good job of just making games fun. So I think everyone wants Nintendo to succeed. And when they released the Nintendo Switch, or at least the trailer of it, it's different. But hey, Nintendo is a different kind of company. And I think they did a really good job. I mean, it's not like, I can guarantee it's not going to be as technically capable as the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. But at the same time, I think it's going to be something different, something portable, and everything that the Wii U was supposed to be, but fell short in so many ways. So hopefully Nintendo has another great showing and they can make it back into prominence, because they do a lot of great stuff. So everyone, the music means we have to take a break. We'll come back with a winner here on the Computer America Show and more computer and technology news. Stay tuned.
Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
No, you don't place bets with a Facebookie. Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Newtone model LA600WH MP3 customizable door chime mechanism. Yeah, it is a doorbell. It hangs on a wall, looks like a door chime housing, works with wired or wireless front and rear doorbell buttons. But the Newtone MP3 doorbell offers some wonderful flexibility. It comes with 8 MP3 files that sound like authentic chimes, including their vibrato and decay. You choose one for the front door and one for the back door, or you make a USB connection to substitute your own MP3 files. Fight songs, rock songs, up to you. Bottom line, a Newtone MP3 customizable door chime lets you change the sound of either door to a buzz, a ding, or a chime, and more. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Hello, and welcome back to the Computer America Show. Thank you, Marty Winston, for that News Tip Bulletin review. It is 33 minutes past the hour, and because it is Friday, and is a lovely Friday at that, I want to I want to congratulate one person in particular, and this is someone that went out, found us on social media, and was ever so kind as to give us a follow. And we're pulling this one from Facebook, actually, one of our bigger ones. But yeah, let's just play the symphony. Here we go, just like that. And again, just for going out, finding us on social media, give us a like. This person won a keys to go from our friends over at Logitech. So if we want to give that looky-loop, then feel free to. But that winner is... Right, don't know how to do the symbol crash. But no, that winner is Mr. Joseph Pfeiffer from Arvada, Colorado. Yeah, so Joseph, thank you for listening to us, and thank you for following us, and thank you for supporting Computer America. We hope that you enjoy your keys to go from Logitech, because again, it's a great prize, and happy to give that away. So Joseph, congratulations, and keep on listening. Thank you so much. All right, and everyone else, you can do the exact same thing. You can be as lucky as Joseph next week, or the week after, or the week after. And we're still working on behind the scenes to try to get some of to get a different kind of contest going, something a little bit more engaged and a little bit more different. But until then, be like Joseph, go out and help support us. So yeah, let's categorize that, and we will give that color. And all right, just like that, we are going to give that away. So as we were doing before the break, we are doing computer and technology news. And yeah, we finished with the DDoS. We finished with the Mars lander that landed too suddenly. And we have a lot of great stories. I think one of the ones I want to cover is Apple. Apple is actually suing a lot of companies on Amazon. Now, I don't think they're suing Amazon itself, but they're suing a company called Mobile Star LLC for manufacturing fake Apple chargers and cables and passing them off on Amazon as authentic goods. So yeah, and this is, I can see this being very, very common, because Apple always has that, they always have that stigma, however rightfully earned, that they are more expensive than their competitors. They are just, it just costs more money to be in the Apple ecosystem. So yeah, this is Apple lawsuit reveals most chargers sold on Amazon are fake. So don't be tempted with lower prices, because obviously you are going to be receiving an inferior product. So this is by Mariella Moon from Engadget. And Apple has filed a lawsuit again against Mobile Star LLC for manufacturing fake Apple chargers and saying that they are the real deal. So according to the details of the lawsuit posted by Patently Apple, Cupertino bought and tested over 100 lightning cables and chargers marked fulfilled by Amazon over the past 9 months. And the result, around 90% of the chargers were fake. And now we all know there's an abundance of counterfeit Apple goods out there. But people tend to trust listings sold by Amazon itself. And in this case, Amazon clearly stated that the items were original. So checking out one example below the fold to see what they mean. And when Apple got in touch with Amazon about the issue, the website told the former that it got most of its chargers from Mobile Star LLC. So the iPhone maker stressed that since the counterfeit cables and chargers don't go through consumer safety testing and can be poorly designed, they're prone to overheating and catching fire. So they may even electrocute users. And Tim Cook and company are now asking the court to issue an injunction against the defendant, saying that they also want the court to order the seizure, of course, the seizure and the they also want the court to order the seizure and destruction of all fake chargers, in addition to asking for damages. So as for Amazon, it told 9to5Mac that it has a zero tolerance for the sale of counterfeit on its site, and the company works closely with the manufacturing brands to pursue wrongdoers aggressively. And of course, here's the thing. Apple, of course, is expensive. They're charging cables. If you try to order a 6-foot lightning cable instead of the 3-foot that comes natively with a phone, the 6-foot is like super expensive. It's like $25, something like that. Whereas if you go on Amazon, and who doesn't check Amazon nowadays to see competitive prices, you can find deals like we're looking at a picture here of a product that is 1 meter, so 3 foot, and it's $10 instead of the usual $25. Seems like a good deal. And of course, everything looks on the up and up. It looks like it's by Apple. It's fulfilled by Amazon. Everything looks good. and it's half the price. So people may think, oh, I'm getting a really good deal. But yeah, it's like they said, it could be poorly manufactured, it could break apart, it could catch fire. It doesn't have to pass the rigorous safety standards that Apple does to sell the same products. So you think what you're getting is a good deal and is authentic, but in actuality, you're getting a cheap knockoff. In most cases, it won't really matter that much. It won't really burn your house down, but you won't be buying the real thing. And, that matters. That matters to Apple, of course. That matters to Amazon when they said that they are going to aggressively take down wrongdoers and take down their products and make sure that only authentic Apple products are sold by Apple, or at least only Apple products are sold as authentic Apple products, because hey, it's just how it is. So yeah, be careful of those shockingly good deals that you get on Amazon, because hey, they could be fake. Okay, with that being said, I say we move on to this one, because I'm a huge Blizzard fan. I've been playing Blizzard games for 20 plus years now. Huge Blizzard fan. And one thing that Blizzard has always kind of said is right on the horizon, and they actually introduced once, I want to say back about 8 years ago. It didn't work too well, but hey, they tried it, they took it out, and now it's back again. And this is kind of a this is kind of a response to services such as Skype or Discord or TeamSpeak. One of these services that I'm sure someone at least out there has used once. And Blizzard has finally come up with their own, and it's called Blizzard Voice. So Blizzard launches its own cross-game voice chat service, saying that unfortunately there's still no in-game voice chat, but this is from Engadget, Mr. Steve Dent, and saying that about a year ago, Blizzard revealed a chat service for all of its Battle.net multiplayer games, starting with Overwatch. And last month, it killed the Battle.net name altogether, saying that multiplayer support is a normal expectation that no longer requires its own service. Now, the World of Warcraft maker has rolled out Blizzard Voice, a chat service that works across all multiplayer titles. So the system works much like Steam voice chat, letting you talk to friends or friends of friends of friends inside or outside of games, as long as you have the Blizzard launcher open. So the company promises high quality voice audio and superior stability, full customization, and the ability to individually mute and change player volume. So, to the dismay of some, of course, there is no in-game chat system. So that means that you can't talk to players not on your friends list during random pickup games unless you use a third-party app like TeamSpeak. So, they're saying that, as one user said, it's such an obvious thing. If people are having a problem with toxic people, just mute them and turn voice chat off completely. So to get Blizzard Voice, you need to update and upgrade your launcher. But hey, it's free if you're a Blizzard user, if you play Hearthstone, if you play StarCraft, if you play Overwatch, World of Warcraft, Diablo, if you play any of their IPs, then all you got to do is have the launcher and you can talk to your friends just like that through the launcher. Very, very cool. And hey, like they said, it's a full expectation of many video games nowadays, just like they said with Steam. It's a full expectation to be able to talk to one another using voice communications. It's very, very easy to do nowadays, and a lot of services do it quickly and efficiently, and it makes a lot of sense that Blizzard would come out with it. So, hey, something to give a look. All right. Now, this one I thought was really cool because for those of you who don't know, the 2020 Olympics have already been chosen, or at least the location has already been chosen. And they're going to happen in Japan, Tokyo, I believe, if no other place. But yeah, it's going to happen in Japan, and it's going to be a big deal because the Japanese, they do things like no other place in the world. And, like here in the US, in South America, in Europe, like in a lot of places, you can kind of expect, even in China, you can kind of expect a usual kind of Olympic Games. But with Japan, things are going to be as high tech, they're going to be as cute, and they're going to be as strange as possible. And typical Japanese format. So, and one of those futuristic, high-tech kind of things is going to be their bus system. So Toyota will start selling fuel cell buses in 2017 with the aim of selling up to 100 in the Tokyo area ahead of the 2020 Olympic Games. So yes, fuel cell, hydrogen fuel cell. And so this is the article is Toyota's hydrogen buses can work as emergency generators. This is by Steve Dent from Engadget. But yeah, they're saying that the company is using beefed up versions of the fuel cell system it developed for the Toyota Mirai with 10 high pressure tanks holding 600 liters of highly compressed hydrogen. And that gives it 235 kilowatt hours of power, about 3 times that of a Tesla Model S, meaning that it can be used as a power source in the event of disasters. So Toyota has been working on CO2-filled free fuel cell buses for a while now with its Hino bus and truck division. So the company is bullish on hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, even though they're less efficient than electric vehicles if the hydrogen is generated using water and electricity. So hydrogen made by reforming methane creates CO2 pollution, though less overall than gasoline. So that's assuming, of course, that the methane doesn't leak. So Toshiba recently unveiled Japan's largest water electrolysis hydrogen production plant, and that uses power from the electrical grid. Unfortunately, the nation still gets most of electricity from fossil fuels, not renewable or nuclear energy. And the bulk of hydrogen is still produced by methane reforming, a polluting process made worse by the fact that Japan imports its methane. However, the nation's plans to produce more hydrogen, of course, by electrolysis over the next decade as part of their prime minister's push to a hydrogen future. And again, it just shows how Japan kind of likes to go its own way. They think what they're doing is best, and it may be, it may not be. Time will tell. But where others kind of use solar, wind, geothermal, water, tide power, whatever they use to power it, Japan is putting all their money into hydrogen, or not all their money, a lot of their money into hydrogen, and hydrogen being the real fuel of the future. Probably because it can be used almost interchangeably with gasoline in terms of pipes and storage tanks and fueling up cars. Like, it's going to be a pretty easy transition. I'm sorry, it's going to be an easy transition for people going from gas to liquid hydrogen if they can get it working. So yeah, they're going to sell 100 buses. This is again Toyota is going to sell 100 buses, and in case of emergency, they can be used as a fuel source. Again, providing tons and tons of power. And hey, it's going to be really cool. I have not been excited for an Olympic Games as much as I have been for Tokyo. Of course, it's going to be quite the logistical challenge to get that many, not only Olympic athletes, but also that many supplies and that many, tourists onto a small island. But I still think it's going to be really, really cool. And I can't wait to see just what comes out of the 2020 the 2020 Olympic Games. It's going to be a lot of fun. So with that being said, how about we do... All right, and speaking of Japan, this is something that all of you should go check out the video of because it's just so cool. Japan, a Japanese projector that displays smooth video on a wiggling, dancing surface. And they're saying this is going to be essentially the future of advertising, or clothing design, fashion design. And so it's only in a lab so far, but this is so cool, saying that and this is from Popular Science and Miss Kelsey Atherton once again, saying that the right shirt is a statement about the shirtwear and about the shirtwear's place in the world. So perhaps it's the subtle tone of the fabric, the closeness of the cut, or the way an animated rabbit spins in circles while the wearer dances, and suggests most clearly this is the shirt of the future. And yeah, this is cool because this was developed in the University of Tokyo in a laboratory that the shirt is marked with infrared ink. And when the projector system sees the object and maps onto the deformed surface, even as a person moves. So with multiple markers placed on different surfaces, the system can remember to put the right picture on each surface, even as they move about. So the idea is that in the future, such dynamic images could be projected onto moving deformed surfaces, such as new user interfaces or just new fashion. And when I say go check out the video, I think one of the most really interesting examples of this technology is when the gentleman is holding two pieces of paper. Of course, there's infrared ink on them. It's kind of invisible ink, and the system can pick up the infrared ink and is able to kind of target it. But they slide two pieces of paper that otherwise look completely blank, completely normal, and it knows to switch from one video to the other. That's what sets it apart from a normal projector, in that a projector just kind of shoots the image out, and whatever it lands on is your business. Hopefully you have a screen, hopefully you've positioned it right, hopefully it's not fuzzy or blurry or anything like that. But this, very, very quickly, I want to say it shoots about 1,000 frames per second, this projector, and it's able to put an image onto a surface at 1,000 frames per second and accurately map just what it wants to shoot. So yeah, like I said, it could be for advertising in the future, it could be for user interfaces, or it could just be for projecting pictures onto clothing. You never know. But no, it's very, very impressive, and it's a very, very impressive, kind of demonstration. Definitely check that out. And again, it was over at popsci.com. All right. With that being said, wow, this article is super long, but we have time for it, so I think we're going to dig into this one. And this is from a website called ProPublica, saying that Google has quietly dropped the ban on personally identifiable web traffic. So Google is the latest tech company to drop the long-standing wall between anonymous online ad tracking and usernames. So this just came out today, and again, ProPublica, Julia Angwin. And yeah, so when Google bought the advertising network DoubleClick back in 2007, Google founder Sergey Brin said that the privacy would be the company's #1 priority when we contemplate new kinds of advertising products. And for nearly a decade, Google did in fact keep DoubleClick's massive database of web browsing records separate by default from the names and other personally identifiable information Google has collected from Gmail and its other login accounts. But this summer, Google has quietly erased the last privacy line in the sand, literally crossing out the line in its privacy policy that promised to keep the two pots of data separate by default. In its place, Google substituted new language that says browsing habits may be combined with what the company learns from the user from the use Gmail and other tools. Very interesting. So the change is enabled by default for new Google accounts, and existing users were prompted to opt in to the change this summer. Hopefully, none of you clicked yes. But they're saying that the practical result of the change is that DoubleClick ads will follow people around on the web may now be customized to them based on the keywords that they use in their Gmail. It also means that Google would now, if it wished to, build a complete portrait of the user by name based on anything they write in email, every website they visit, and the searches they conduct. Very, very interesting, because before, it was all about cookies and, kind of things that you searched for before and what was stashed on your browser. And now they're able to combine it with any email. So let's say you send out a lot of emails pertaining to, I don't know, drywall. Let's say you deal with drywall, you deal heavily in drywall, and you send so many emails about how you are willing to give people the best price on drywall, and I need drywall. Well, before it, unless you visited drywall sites and you had cookies from those sites on your browser, it wouldn't really serve you up any ads about that. But now, because you receive emails, you send emails, and it has so many terms in it, they're not able to combine those terms, such as drywall, and say, "Hey, Ben, we noticed that you deal in drywall. Check out these stores, and they have all these different options that match what you kind of talk about and what you look for." Of course, the obvious change is that you get more targeted ads. More data means that more precise targeting of those ads, and hopefully more more click-throughs, more purchases through Google advertising, which of course increases revenue. But the move is a sea change for Google and a further blow to the online ad industry's longstanding contention that web tracking is mostly anonymous, saying that in recent years, Facebook, offline data brokers, and others have increasingly sought to combine their troves of web tracking data with people's real names. And until this summer, Google had held the line. So, Google spokeswoman Andrea Faville emailed a statement describing Google's change in privacy policy as an update to adjust to the smartphone revolution, saying that we updated our ad system and associated user control to match the way people use Google today across many different devices. She also added that the change is 100% optional, and if users do not opt into these changes, their Google experience will remain unchanged. Very, very good. Definitely want to have an opt-in and not an opt-out, because we've seen when companies choose an opt-out, it's overwhelmingly people don't know, they don't know how to, or they just don't care. And opt-out really means we're doing it, and 98% of you will not opt out. So definitely applaud them for the opt-in option. So they're saying that existing Google users were prompted to opt in to the new tracking system this summer through a request with titles such as "some new features for your Google account," saying that the new features receive little scrutiny at the time, saying that Wired wrote that it gives you more granular control over how ads work across devices. And in a personal tech column, the New York Times also described the change as new controls for the types of advertisements you see around the web. So, privacy advocates raised a ruckus in 1999 when DoubleClick purchased a data broker that assembled people's names, addresses, and offline interests, and the merger could have allowed DoubleClick to combine its web browsing information with people's names. And after an investigation by the FTC, DoubleClick sold the broker at a loss. So, obviously, back in 1999, it was a bad thing, and the FTC came down hard on it. So, in response to the controversy, the nascent online advertising industry formed the Network Advertising Initiative in 2000 to establish an ethical code. So, most online ad tracking remained essentially anonymous for some time after that, when Google bought DoubleClick in 2007. So, in 2012, Google changed its policy to allow it to share data users between different Google services, so such as Gmail and its Google search. But it kept data away from DoubleClick, and of course, whose tracking technology is enabled on half of the top 1 million websites separate. But now, the era of social media has changed that, and it's safe to say that if you search for something, if you talk about something, if you do something online, on any device, on your smartphone, and you have linked accounts, and you do things, in any kind of Google ecosystem, they are now sharing the data across all of the devices, and they're sharing all of the information that comes and goes through all their services. And like it or not, right now it's opt out, opt in, whatever it may be. But in the future, it's only going to get probably worse. It's only going to get worse for the fact that if you use any of these free services, and again, emphasis on free, they are going to mine your data. They're going to keep your data as long as they can in as many ways as they can, and they're going to connect it like a big old, connect the dots kind of graph. And yeah, they're going to target you with the proper ads. They're going to try to, if you're into home decor, if you're into video games, if you're
90
into
seconds.
no matter what you're into, they're going to try their darndest to sell you that very, very targeted. And unless there's some kind of kickback, this is the way of advertising in the future. No two ways about it. So if you're worried about it, of course, don't use anything that's free. Always, try to pay for it and read their terms and services. But, a lot of people like free, and this is the cost of
60
free.
seconds.
All right, everyone. The music means that it's the end of the show, and the weekend is upon us. Hopefully, all of you had a great week, and again, enjoyed everything that we did here at Computer America. Enjoyed our Linux show. Enjoyed, our impromptu show with Nathan Evans, and just enjoyed everything that we did here this week. And next week, we'll be back with 5 new episodes. So stay tuned. With that being said, have a great weekend. Go out, do something fun. Craig always recommends movies. I'm going to recommend go see a play. Get some culture, people. The theater is really a good place to go, I assume. But have a great weekend. See you bright and early Monday afternoon, 4 to 5 Eastern, for brand new Computer America. Just like that.
10 seconds.
Have a great one, everyone, and have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye. And for everyone out there watching on our video portion, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you had a lot of fun. And yeah, we'll be back at it again Monday, bright and early. So have a good one, and yeah, enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye, everyone.